This week you'll notice the formulas all of a sudden got really big and bulky, and so obviously this is a time when you want to use your calculator to your fullest. But be warned, your calculator is not as smart as you are. That means when you're doing things like using order of operations, it doesn't always do it right. You have to tell it what to do. And so you need to make sure that you are putting in things to make it easy for it to do it. Parentheses in general allow you to get a lot in, but actually your best thing is to put it in piecemeal. For instance, I'm going to start with this top one, and this is the confidence interval for standard deviation. You can see I've got some numbers in here so we can work this out. Now, order of operations says groupings first, so I need to start in here. So I start with this and I get the 24. I'm going to do 24 times 0.29 squared. Then I'm going to hit enter. And then I'm going to do divide by. Notice my answer button came up. Now, even if you don't have an answer, you can see here second, this button down here, the negative sign, has answer above it. So second, the negative sign will give you an answer. Even if you have the basic, like the TI-30s or something along that lines, you have an answer in memory. You are able to store things. And in general, whatever you're working with, it'll let you carry over to the next one. You could obviously write this down, but you don't want to round unless you have to. So I never do. I keep working. And then I'm going to divide by the next thing, 33.196. Okay, now I've got this answer. I'm going to go square root, and I'm going to bring up my answer. Ta-da, this is my first side, 0.25, because this particular problem I told you to round to hundredth place, to 2 decimal places. I start over in the other one. So this is easy to do in my head. Now you could, of course, if you wanted to, do 25 minus 1 and then 29 squared. And then I'm going to now divide by 15.659. Then again, second square button to get my square root, second answer, and here's my other side. So you don't want to try to put everything in at once. It's going to make it really hard, and it's likely that you're going to put a mistake in, either in how you're keying it in. I also always run mine twice. I get an answer, write it down. Then I do it again. If the answer doesn't match, I do it a third time. I want it to do it twice because then I know I got everything put in because you have a lot of numbers. Now let's do this next one down here. So this was 0.25 to 0.36. Down here, when I look at something like this, I start with what I think is the worst. I'm going to actually start in the denominator. You have that choice where to start. Because remember, the numerator and the denominator are their own separate pieces. So you need to do each completely and get an answer, and then you're going to get, like, say, 2 in the top, 4 in the bottom. Simply, oh, I've got 1/2. So I'm going to start in the bottom, because then I'm going to start inside, and I'm going to do 0.25 times 0.75, answer, divide by 520. Now I'm going to take the square root of my answer. Now this is the denominator. So now up in the top, I'm going to do the numerator. I'm going to do 153. Actually, I want 2. I want 153 divided by 520, parentheses. So I'm saying do that first, minus 0.25, and parentheses. That's my entire numerator. Now divide it by answer. So that's the denominator I already got. That's my entire numerator. And by putting this in parentheses, it'll do this first, then subtract. And you can see there's my answer, 2.33. And again, I would do this a second time and make sure it matches. You could do the top first, but I like to do the more complicated one because then I get in the answer button and I can use it. And I can usually, like this, I can put it all at once and I can see it so I can make sure it looks right. If you have more than one line, it's really hard to tell if you got everything into it. This bottom one, I'll probably start in the top. You can even see, oh, that answer's 2. I can see that in my head. 2 divided by, I'm going to do parentheses because I want it to do everything first and then divide, and I'm going to do 13 divided by the square root of 12 and parentheses for that. So I've told it, take the square root, then divide, find all that, and then divide that by 2. So the answer here is 0.53. It's very important that you're paying attention to what you're putting in your calculator. It will screw up if you do not put it in the right order.